Hey, are you on YouTube right now going down that homesteading rabbit hole? Believe me, if you are, I've been there. I've been there recently. I was doing some research on homesteading and I ended up in all the weird corners of the internet doing this research for you. So if you're here because you want to learn about what are some of the top red states for homesteading, because say you're moving from California or Washington or Oregon, some blue state, and you're saying, I got to get out. I want to go somewhere where I can build a quote homestead. Well, initially in the first part of this video, we're going to talk about what a homestead is. What's a homestead? What's off-grid? I by no means am an expert in either, but if you're coming from California, and that's who mostly these videos are for, just want to give you some basic information about some of the states that are going to maybe fit the bill for you. They're going to be somewhere that you can maybe go do some more research for yourself to say, hey, you know what? I think this is where I want to go plant my roots and go live out, the rest of this one wonderful, beautiful life that we have. And so with that said, let me just first get into it, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Jason. I'm the founder here of Red State Relocate. And if you live anywhere across this country, if you're in a blue city, a blue state, wherever, and you feel like you got to sell your house and you want to get out of there and you want to go buy a home, it doesn't have to be a homestead, but you're just looking to go buy a house in a red state where you can go live a better life, where you can be taxed less, your kids can go to a better school. Okay, you can have maybe some local representatives that actually represent you in the things you believe in. And we know that a lot of people are leaving states like California, where I'm from. They're leaving these states because they're looking around and they're realizing that they're not being represented anymore, and that this state and a lot of the other blue states are no longer serving them, and it's time to look somewhere else. And that is the beauty of America. And anybody who wants to badmouth our country, well, guess what? What other country in the world can you decide, you know what, this isn't working? I'm going to go over here and it's going to be better over there. There's not many. Sorry there, I had to throw a little edit in there. My apologies. But hey, look, what I was saying is, look, if you're looking to move to a red state, you let me know. I have realtors all across this country. All right. And if you live in San Jose, if you're in the Bay Area of California, I personally would love to help you sell your home and move to a red state, partner you up with one of the agents that I've already worked with in the past all across this country to help you move. All right. And if you're a realtor and you're on board with the mission of what Red State Relocate is trying to accomplish here, let me know. I would love to get you added to my referral partner list. All right. So with that said, let's just get into this. All right. Obviously, if you see my other videos, you know I have a tendency to ramble on. So first off, and I got my notes here, I'm going to be looking at my notes, so bear with me. First thing we want to talk about is off-grid versus homesteading. What are the differences? All right. This is not going to be an extensive little thing. This is just a little something to clear what it is this video is about. Okay. So off-grid, when we think about off-grid, we're talking about folks who sometimes maybe are just thinking, you know what, they're checking out. A lot of times it's for political reasons. The off-grid folks kind of tend to want to check out because they're done. They're preparing for some sort of catastrophic event maybe. And they're saying, you know what, I don't want to be living in the suburbs when this whole thing goes down. And I'm going to go move out into the hills and leave me alone, and that's it. So that's going to be different than the philosophy of what the homesteader is looking for, what I'm finding anyway. Okay, I'm by no means, again, an expert in homesteading, but it seems to be the homesteader is just kind of more of somebody who wants to just maybe leave the blue areas, leave the city, and just get back to what's maybe a more simpler way of life. It's not politically motivated in any way. It's just, you know what, living in the city is just a stress, and they're tired of it. And maybe, again, maybe they don't like the schools that their kids are going to, or maybe their business doesn't really work so well in the city. They want to take it out into the country. So if that's an option, if that's something you're looking for, maybe that's something for you. Okay. But the homesteader really is somebody who's really not looking to check out of society. They still want to be part of the community. Maybe they want to just have some chickens and maybe they can trade their eggs for some meat or some milk with the people in their community. They still want to go to church. They still want their kids to be engaged in the community. Maybe they're not going to a public school anymore. Maybe they're homeschooling them, but they've still got them engaged in community. Okay, so again, I'm just kind of splitting hairs here on the off-grid versus homestead, but this video is really kind of about the homesteader, where they're a little bit more involved in farming, in community, and in states that really allow for this type of living, because If you're going to be farming, well, you're going to be having farming equipment possibly. Okay, there's going to be maybe some livestock that you're going to be wanting to have, and you're going to want to go to states or areas and parts of states where these things are allowed. If you go buy a house in the suburbs, they're probably not going to be real pleased if you get yourself a rooster, that's crowing at 5 o'clock in the morning. In fact, most cities don't allow roosters for that exact reason. So don't find yourself surprised that you want to quote homestead, but you can't do it maybe in an area you want to go to. So again, this list right here, I've got 5 states that could fit the bill for you, that are something to look at. So look, we're already a handful of minutes into this video, and I don't want to waste too much more of your time. All right, so let's get into the top states for homesteading. Okay, and this is not according to me. This is actually according to an article I found online. I just did a search, and Rural Living Today has an article. They wrote an article called "The Best States for Homesteading," and they had a big list of states. I kind of went through the article and just kind of piecemealed it a little bit, really thinking in terms of Californians or people in blue states that are looking to move to a state that's going to maybe be a little bit more open to this homesteading lifestyle. So I kind of curated their list a little bit more to tailor it for you. So, but number one, let's just get right to it. All right. Number one is one of the most popular states, not only for homesteading, but for Californians in general, where they're moving to, is Tennessee. All right. So we'll talk about Tennessee in terms of homesteading. Again, my notes. One of the things to think about, not only is Bill Lee your governor, you do have a Republican governor there, so you're going to have some good representation at the top. But Tennessee has 4 seasons, and if you're coming from California, you're used to that nice weather, and you want to go into this homesteading lifestyle, and you're going to move across the country into a part of this country that has some weather. Moving to a place like North Dakota or Montana could be difficult if you want to do this homesteading lifestyle, because you're going to be dealing with some extreme winters. Okay, so a place like Tennessee could be really, really good option for you. They have 4 seasons. All 4 seasons are fairly mild. Okay, there's nothing too extreme. They do get some wild weather, though. Okay, we know that West Tennessee and Middle Tennessee, they can get the flooding. They can get a lot of the tornadoes. They are in Tornado Alley. East Tennessee, maybe something to look at. I do have a client right now that's looking at East Tennessee very, very heavily right now, simply because you know what? There's some good land. There's some you got the Appalachian Mountains there. So you've got a good opportunity to buy some property, but also not have to worry about those extreme weather conditions like tornadoes and floods and all those things. It's a great lifestyle out there. The Appalachian community, they actually host a homesteading conference every year in East Tennessee. So it's a very much welcomed lifestyle there. If you're going out there for that type of life, you're going to find good neighbors and people that are really going to be helpful in that community. Because remember, the difference between the off-grid and the homesteading, kind of just philosophically, generally, is that the homesteader does still want to be involved in that community type of lifestyle. And so give East Tennessee a look. They do have a long growing season. That was another one of my notes here. The growing season is long, again, because it's not like North Dakota, Montana, Washington, or so. Actually, East Washington. Maybe don't think of Washington, but a lot of those Midwestern northern states where you're going to get some really heavy winters, and that's just going to end your growing season for you. So you're going to have a very short window to grow. And if you're coming from California, you're going to want to pick a state that's going to maybe help you be successful. You want to go to a state that the weather is nice and is going to help you be successful in this journey. And then down the road, if you decide, you want to step it up a notch and you want to make it a little more tough and a little more challenging, maybe you can start looking at some of the northern states. But look, Tennessee is a great one. The second one we have, again, is another massively popular state for Californians, not just to move to because home prices, used to be affordable. That's changed now in this post-COVID world. But it's just a great lifestyle out there, and that's Idaho. Okay, Idaho is a fantastic state for the homesteader. The notes I had here, there's 60,000 homesteaders, okay, in Idaho, and these are people that have farms, they have land. They're actually not just living on property, but they're actually actively using their land. They're farming their land. They're going to farmers markets and selling their products. Okay, they're taking advantage of the homesteading tax advantages that they have, which is actually another subject I don't want to get into in this video. but the homestead tax advantages is something to consider when looking at these states. And that's a big reason why rural living today listed these states, because of the tax advantages in those states. But in terms of taxes and things, I'm not a tax advisor, so talk to your tax person to find out which state's going to work best for you. But look, Idaho ranks at the top, not just for homesteading, but for lifestyle, for hunting and fishing and outdoors. And they do have great public schools. You want to put your kid in a public school, okay, but you still want to live that homestead lifestyle, but maybe you just can't afford it. It's okay. Maybe I just can't afford to homeschool my kid. You can put them in a school in Idaho, and they're probably going to do a lot better, okay, than they're going to do in a place like California. All right, we don't have to argue about that one. That's pretty obvious. But it's a low population state. All right, so it's managed well. Brad Little is your governor. Again, you're going to have good representation. Low population states like Wyoming, like Idaho, okay, they tend to just be managed better, just because there's just not so much chaos going around with too many people. So, although I think Idaho folks are going to probably argue, they're saying there's too many people, but the reality is, look, for the amount of land there, you can buy land, you can do your homestead thing, and again, just like Tennessee, you're going to have community, and that's really what homesteading appears to be about. It's just being connected with your neighbors, but not so reliant on the quote grid, not reliant on the systems. Okay, so you feel like you can maybe just get back to a simpler way of life. Although I will add, and I don't know if I mentioned this earlier, but when we talk about the homesteading, a simpler way of life does not mean easier way of life. All right, the homesteading lifestyle is going to be tough. All right, it's hard, it's work. So don't think you're just going to go live Little House on the Prairie style and just watch the sunrise and sunset and drink sweet tea out on the porch. No, you're going to work. Homesteading is work. You're going to possibly have a farm. You're possibly going to have some animals. However big and wide you want to take this thing, you can do it. But don't think for a second that it's easy. Is it simple? Yes. You're not going to be reliant on food chains and you're not going to have to go to the grocery store for everything. Maybe you have to go for some things, but not everything. All right. You're just going to start taking a little bit more control over sustaining yourself and your family. And you're going to do it in a state that helps sustain your business too. What else was there? What was the last one I had? Okay, yeah, so when we talk about Idaho, the last piece here, though, is that natural disasters are not common. Okay, they do have some wildfires in Idaho, but you don't have to really worry about the flooding and the earthquakes and the tornadoes and all of this, really wild weather you get, kind of more in the Midwestern parts of the United States. So you got a great state that's very open, hospitable to the homesteading lifestyle without the concern about some wild weather. And if you're from California, I know we think about tornadoes and hurricane. We don't like that stuff. We look, you talk to any California, most Californians are going to say they'd rather have an earthquake than a tornado. Okay. And of course it's vice versa for everybody else, but these are things that Californians consider. All right. So look, let's get on with it. I told you I can talk. Number 3 state to consider, right, we're looking at is Missouri. All right. Missouri here. Mike Parsons, your governor there, again, another Republican managed state. Missouri, and this note I had here, homesteading, right? The homesteading, the farming in Missouri is an $88 billion industry. All right, you're talking about farmers markets, sharing with the community, selling, on the back of your pickup over on the, on the country corner type thing. All right, this is big business. And anytime you got a state that's going to have big business wrapped around anything to do with farming, you're going to have support, right? You're going to have support at the local and your higher levels of government. They're going to encourage that. And so you want to go somewhere that's going to encourage this lifestyle for you. But a lot of land, right? Lots of land. We know Missouri is just big, big land and affordable, right? So with this big push of all these Californians moving to Texas and Idaho, right, and Tennessee and all these places, Missouri was a little bit overlooked. Okay, I know the people in Missouri are probably disagreeing. They're saying, no, a lot of them moved here. Statistically, not as many people, or not the percentage of people moved to Missouri as they did to some of the other larger, I'll say, red states. But great growing season. I wrote some of the farming you could do. Carrots, Brussels sprouts, cabbage, collard greens, potatoes. Okay, just good food that you can grow, that you can actually can and hold over the winter. I mean, it's just I don't know. I like Missouri as a state, anyways. I think it's a fantastic state just to live. I think the people that live there, they again, they have that community about them. But look, it's a big business, and there's a lot of land out there to do it. You are going to get some weather out there, all right. So if you're not too concerned with those tornadoes and that wild weather, then Missouri could possibly be a really good spot for you. Okay. Number 4, we're going to do number 4 here. I'm trying to wrap up here a little quick. I know I rambled on early. Not so much a red state. All right. This is a kind of an outlier, but I still wanted to mention it for a specific reason we'll get into. But it's Michigan. All right. Yeah. Michigan. Yeah. Gretchen Whitmer's Michigan. We know she's pissed off a lot of people, but hey, we got the election coming up. So we'll see. This is being filmed before the November 2022 election. Tudor Dixon is running against Gretchen Whitmer. We'll see. As of this video is post-election, who wins? Does Gretchen Whitmer hold on to it, or does Tudor Dixon, the Republican, become the new governor of Michigan? Maybe Michigan will be a red state again. We'll see. But if you are looking to move to Michigan, again, this one kind of, again, not only an outlier because it's not a red state, but it's also a state that does have some more extreme weather. And I talked about Californians wanting to go somewhere that's a little more hospitable. Yes, Michigan is known for having some pretty cold winters. They do have 140 growing days. All right. So in terms of having your farm, if you want to grow your fruits, your vegetables, it's not a lot, right? It's not half the season. It's not all year like we're used to in California. But 140 growing days is just shy of half the year. So it's not bad. There's probably places, right, like we talk about in a lot of those more northern parts of the country where you maybe get 90 growing days. It's going to be a quick one. So Michigan could be an option for you. A lot of land. Greenhouses, right? Here's something you're going to want to look into. If going up a little further north, you're going to want to start thinking about greenhouses. Now, I've been shying away from these northern states because of the greenhouses. People are going to say, yeah, sure, you can live in these northern climates and have greenhouses. But again, from a Californian's perspective, I'm trying to keep things simple, right? We're trying to keep things a little more easy so that we can be successful in this homesteading journey. And so, but I did add Michigan. You can have some greenhouses. Maybe something you want to dip your toe into. If you want to extend that 140-day growing season, this could be a good avenue to try to see if, hey, does this work? Do I want to maybe I could live in one of these more northern climates that has a little bit more extreme weather for me. All right. But the thing that I noted here, and this is something to keep an eye on, do your own research on this, is Michigan has right to farm laws. Okay. So what these right to farm laws do is they prevent neighbors from complaining and filing official complaints on your property because you're making noise, right? Say you have a tractor and a neighbor gets upset because you're running your tractor. There's not much they can do about it. There's a right to farm. You have the right in Michigan to farm your land, and neighbors can't complain about it as long as it's legal. Okay, let's not forget, as long as you're farming something legal. Okay, I know I'm watching you. I know what you Californians are up to. Believe me, I know you guys are growing some funky stuff here. So if you want to grow the funky stuff in Michigan, well, this right to farm laws might not protect you. But again, something to think about that. That's why I added this, even though it is a blue state. The right to farm laws, that growing season, maybe the opportunity to get into maybe some of that greenhouse a little bit more, what do I say, challenging homesteading lifestyle, something to think about. Okay. And then finally, let's get on with this. All right. Finally, the last state I have listed that could be a great red state for you to leave California, to leave the blue states, to leave a blue city and go live this homestead life. Okay. Not easy, but simple. Simpler, but not easy. Is Arkansas. All right. Arkansas. Yes. The home of the rhino extraordinaire, Asa Hutchinson. He's your governor for now. We'll see if we can get a real Republican to replace him. But Arkansas, just a great state in general. Okay, Arkansas, I did my top 5 overlooked red states video a little while back, and Arkansas was on that list. I think Arkansas is a fantastic state. Gets a bad rap. It has a reputation. Okay, fine. Nobody, I mean, let me rephrase. Some people say, oh, I'm going to move to Arkansas. People are probably going to laugh at you. Ha ha, Arkansas? No, not ha ha. Arkansas is a fantastic state. All right. It's got the Ozarks. And of course, it's the home of Tom Cotton, ladies and gentlemen. Come on. When you wake up in the morning, don't you want to know Tom Cotton has your back in Washington? I know I do. I don't know about you, but I do. All right. But look, cheap land, man. Arkansas is known for having some really, really affordable land. Now, granted, post-COVID, land and properties all across this country have gone up a lot. Okay, that's fine. But compared to probably what you're used to here in California, it is still going to be much more affordable. You can buy yourself a lot of land. Maybe just get yourself a nice, simple home on it. Get a little river running through there. Maybe get a little tributary or something, and you got some water rights on there. Come on, how cool would that be? And great soil. It noted in this article, just good soil for growing. You get a good, long, extended growing season. Again, the land's affordable. The last one I had here was just for hunting. If outdoors is a cool thing for you, if you love like hunting and fishing, man, you got the Ozarks there. You've got this great mountain range, all these hills. Just you can really, really not only just do the homestead thing, but you can really live a life that really gets you reconnected to nature. And for me, when I think about Arkansas, I think about being reconnected to nature. And when we look at our cities, I live in San Jose. When I look at San Francisco or LA, you look at what's going on in Portland or any major city across this country, and we look at some of the problems that are going on there, like what we call that rat race, right? Just that everybody just packed in. I think a lot of those problems come from the fact that we're just not connected to nature anymore. And people just need to not only just get out for the weekend and just go, camping or hiking for a couple of days. No, I'm talking we need to get back to being connected to nature and feeling it and waking up with it and going to sleep with it, kind of getting our body back in tune with those things. And so Arkansas, like I said, the hunting is great. The fishing is great. I forget in my last video I talked about it. I think Arkansas has more shoreline than California does. That's amazing. So you can really take advantage of some great land prices, a great lifestyle there, and you got some really great, I'll say, political representation at the top that's going to encourage this homesteading kind of lifestyle. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, I hope this video brought you some value. If you're still watching this video, if you are watching this right now, you have to give me a thumbs up. You have to leave me a comment. If this gave you any value, just let me know you're here. Give us a subscribe. I know I've been saying I'm trying to get a little more consistent in these videos, but man, as I'm trying to move people around, kind of get these ideas for these videos. And so I was helping somebody connect with someone across the country to move into this homestead thing, and it got me excited, got me into this down this rabbit hole, probably where you're at right now. But if you're watching this, just give me a comment, let me know you're here, and if there's anything I can do to help you, if you need to sell your home and move across this country, whether it's to homestead or whether it's to go buy a nice house in a developed community, I can help you do that too, because the ultimate goal is to get you out of these cities that are not serving you and get you moved somewhere where you can be served, your business can thrive, and you can live the life that you deserve in Red State America. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching this video. I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.